The Democratic Republic of the Congo. How Africa's most gifted country was broken. Few countries on earth possess the natural, human, and geographic endowments of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Its rivers could power a continent, its soil could feed hundreds of millions, and its minerals sit at the heart of modern technology, from smartphones and electric vehicles to renewable energy systems. By every rational measure, Congo should be a global powerhouse. Yet it remains one of the poorest and most unstable countries in the world. This is not because Congolese people lack intelligence, discipline, or ambition. It is because the country's history followed a uniquely violent and extractive path, one that destroyed institutions before they could form and locked the nation into dependency long after formal independence. Congo is not a mystery. It is a case study in how wealth becomes a curse when power, sovereignty, and institutions are stripped away. To understand Congo is to confront colonial brutality, Cold War interference, failed leadership choices, regional betrayal, and a global economic system that benefits from Congolese instability. Congo's geography alone should have guaranteed greatness. Sitting at the heart of Africa and bordering 9 countries, it is naturally positioned as a hub for continental trade, security, and integration. A stable Congo would anchor Africa geopolitically. The Congo River, the second largest in the world by volume and the deepest ever measured, offers one of the greatest hydroelectric potentials on Earth. At Inga Falls alone lies the capacity to generate over 40,000 megawatts of power, enough to drive industrialization across much of the continent. More than 60% of the country is covered by rainforest, forming the Congo Basin, the second largest rainforest after the Amazon. It regulates rainfall across Africa and absorbs vast amounts of carbon dioxide, making Congo one of the planet's most important climate stabilizers. Its land is also agriculturally rich, capable of feeding hundreds of millions if supported by infrastructure, technology, and sound governance. Geography gave Congo immense power. History ensured it never controlled it. The country's destruction did not begin with neglect but with design. At the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885, Congo was not colonized as a conventional territory but handed to King Leopold II of Belgium as his personal property. The Congo Free State was not a nation-building project. It was a private corporate empire built solely for extraction. Rubber, ivory, and later minerals were taken through forced labor enforced by terror, hostage-taking, mutilations, executions, and the destruction of entire villages. Millions died and entire societies were traumatized. Crucially, no effort was made to build institutions. There were no universities, no political structures, and no trained administrative class. Infrastructure existed only to move resources from the interior to European markets. When Belgium formally took over in 1908, the brutality softened in appearance but not in purpose. Extraction continued, education remained limited, and political participation was forbidden. By the time independence arrived in 1960, fewer than 30 Congolese held university degrees in a country of millions. Congo was not left unprepared by accident. It was deliberately denied the tools of self-rule. Independence came abruptly on June 30, 1960, and the collapse was almost immediate. Patrice Lumumba, the first prime minister, represented a new kind of African leadership. Nationalist, assertive, and determined to make political independence economically meaningful. He understood that sovereignty without control over resources was an illusion. That understanding made him dangerous to powerful foreign interests. Within weeks, the army mutinied, regions attempted secession, and foreign powers interfered openly. Lumumba was arrested, transferred to hostile forces, and assassinated in 1961 with external involvement. Congo lost its most capable and visionary leader before institutions could stabilize. What followed was chaos. The state fractured, trust evaporated, and future leaders learned a brutal lesson. Idealism was lethal. Leadership that followed reflected that lesson. Joseph Kasavubu, the first president, lacked the authority and institutional backing to unify the country, and power struggles paralyzed governance. Mobutu Sese Seko seized power in 1965, promising stability, and ruled for 32 years. Backed by Western powers during the Cold War, He centralized authority, renamed the country Zaire, and transformed the state into personal property. Corruption was not incidental, it was the system itself. There was order without development, stability without institutions. When Mobutu fell, nothing solid remained beneath him. Laurent Desire Kabila overthrew Mobutu in 1997 with regional support, promising reform but quickly concentrating power. His rule collapsed into regional war and he was assassinated in office. His son, Joseph Kabila, inherited a shattered country and presided over post-war reconstruction. Elections were held, but institutions remained weak, corruption persisted, and eastern Congo stayed unstable. In 2019, Felix Tshisekedi oversaw the first peaceful transfer of power in Congo's history. His administration has promised reform and made real, if fragile, progress while confronting systems entrenched over decades. Congolese leaders inherited a broken state, but many chose survival over transformation. Power was personalized rather than institutionalized. Patronage replaced national cohesion. Extraction was managed rather than reformed. Colonial economic structures were maintained instead of dismantled, locking the country into a familiar pattern of dependency. This dependency is most visible in the economy. Congo holds roughly 70% of the world's cobalt, along with vast reserves of copper, gold, diamonds, and coltan. Yet it remains poor because it exports raw materials while processing, manufacturing, and profits occur elsewhere. Jobs are lost, value is extracted, and dependency deepens. This is not accidental. It is a structural system designed to keep Congo a supplier, not a producer. Politically, authority remains fragmented, legitimacy fragile, and armed groups active. Economically, the country is dependent on extraction with collapsed infrastructure and a dominant informal sector. Socially, it has a young and diverse population but underfunded education and health systems. Technologically, digital penetration and industrial capacity remain low. Environmentally, deforestation and illegal mining threaten one of the world's most important ecosystems. Legally, weak courts and poor contract enforcement undermine confidence and accountability. Despite all this, Congo's cultural and human capital remain extraordinary. Its influence on African music, fashion, and art is immense. Its people are resilient, creative, and adaptive. Congo's greatest resource has never been beneath its soil. It has always been its people. Africa, too, bears responsibility. Silence, weak regional enforcement, and in some cases exploitation by neighboring states allowed instability to persist. A strong Congo would strengthen the entire continent, yet it was allowed to weaken. The world must begin to see Congo differently, not as a warehouse of minerals or a perpetual battlefield, but as a climate guardian, an energy future, and a sovereign nation deserving control over its destiny.